Morning. I got this from the library. The story of Esther, a Purim tale, retold by Eric Kimmel, illustrated by Jill Weber. I really like the illustrations. Queen Esther is so popular. She's so beautiful and very strong. A lot of girls and women have told me that Esther is their favorite person in the Bible. So she's Jewish, but she's living in the Middle East. I don't know much. I don't understand all the background, but here's the king, and he's going to have a palace. Ooh, a peacock. And a camel. I love the animals of the Bible. So the king calls for Vashti. Where is Vashti? And she says, no, I'm not going to come there. So he cast her out. And I don't know what happened to her. Everybody at the banquet is like, hey, what's going on? So I don't know if it was all men there. I think it was all men there. And then Vashti had her own banquet with women. So drawing out the Bible, I know there was a men's banquet and a women's banquet. So the king is upset, and they're like, well, let's go get some more women for you. Here's the king, decides to marry again. Or I don't know even if it's marry. Months passed, King Ahasuerus decided to marry again. Well, they get a whole bunch of women together for him, maybe a harem and concubines. And here is Hadassah. Hadassah was her Jewish name. And I don't know if Esther was her Persian name. Esther has a little cat there or dog. I don't know. So all the women are coming to visit the king in Shushan, the citadel. And here's some big statues, interesting statues. And she has her uncle or cousin. I think it's her cousin, but here they say uncle. She asked her uncle, what if the king commands me to do something against my religion? I did not read that in the Bible, but it's interesting. This Esther is retold in this story, so hopefully they stayed close to the Bible. But I know Esther was probably sad saying goodbye to her uncle Mordecai because he raised her. There's the camel. There's the guards. The guards sounded very helpful when Esther needed to talk with Mordecai. Oh, these are the guards that murdered. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I'm skimming the words. Here's Mordecai sitting in the gate, and he hears the servants, the guards, talking about killing the king. So he goes and tells Esther, I believe. Esther is getting her beauty treatments. I like how they have he has Mordecai sitting there by the gate. Here's Esther looking beautiful with her cat. And she's going to go see the king. And I think somehow Mordecai tells the king, tells the officials that the king is going to be killed. So they hang those two guards. Then Esther's doing her beauty treatments. She goes in to see the king. Beautiful peacock right there. The king chooses Esther out of all the other women. And I guess they get married. I don't know. She becomes queen, so must be married. I don't know. King Ahasuerus announced his choice. Esther became his bride and took Vashti's place as queen of all Persia. So, what happens next? Here's Mordecai. Soon after these events, the king's chief minister, Haman, the son of Hammedatha, came riding towards the palace gate. Bow down to Haman. Bow to the living God. So I guess this is Haman. He's like, everybody must bow to me. He's the evil guy of the story. No, I'm sorry. Here's Haman. Everybody bow to me. And Mordecai does not bow. Sorry, we got to see the whole picture here. Here comes Haman. I don't know if he was on a horse at all. And Mordecai says, I will not bow to you. Or Mordecai does not bow to him. So Haman goes to the king and says, hey, there's these Jewish people that don't follow your rules. We need to get rid of them. And so the king says, all right. So it's a terrible thing. They're going to destroy the Jews, similar to what's happening now in Israel. So God's going to protect the Jews. Haman sends a decree out that everybody's going to die on one day. So everybody weeps and laments, cries. He wears sackcloth and ashes. And he's mourning. So he tells a messenger or a eunuch to, okay, I don't know if here he's directly telling Esther, but in the Bible it says he sends a messenger. She sends a messenger to him, and he sends a messenger back. Esther's servant noticed him there and informed the queen. She came out to speak with her uncle. No, it was through messengers. So she says, hey, if you just go and talk to the king, you could be killed. And he says, well, if you don't do it, God will save the Jews some other way, but you may have come for just such a time as this to save your people. So she goes in to the king, and he says, puts his scepter out. Yes, you can come and approach me. And even though he hadn't called her for a while, and she says, well, let's talk about that in a minute. This is Haman talking about what's going on with him, and he's bragging and talking to his wife and his friends. And they say, why don't you build a noose for Haman and hang him and suggest it to the king. So he's like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll do that. Just going to turn on him. I only have about a minute left. Here's Haman, the king sleeping in bed. He can't sleep. Awake in bed. Here he is, awake in bed. He can't sleep, so he has the chronicles, the records read to him, and talks about Mordecai helping him be saved, not be killed. So he's like, what can we do for this Mordecai? What can we do for him? So in enters Haman to talk about hanging Mordecai, but the king says, well, why don't you bring Mordecai around and bring him around the town and celebrate